Well, our top story today from the gatewaypundit.com, fireworks explode as Ted Cruz snaps after Tucker Carlson asks him a pointed question about Iran during an explosive interview. Cruz issues a furious response afterwards. It's the controversy that broke the internet, and we're talking about this and so much more here on the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. My name is Elijah Schaffer, and this is the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review, where we cover the top stories of the last 24 hours. Well, it seems like the name Tucker Carlson has become a household norm. I'm looking at my producer right now, and I think he's probably one of the most talked about people. It's Iran, Israel, and Tucker. He's the name that everybody keeps talking about, but yet one side of the political right keeps saying he's irrelevant. He's unimportant. He's completely expired, like yesterday's milk. But yet he's the most popular name trending on the internet, so I'd say, hey, he's doing a pretty damn good job when it comes to being entertaining. Let's find out whether you like what he said or not in this explosive article from Colin Linebarger. Well, it turns out that fireworks erupted during an interview involving two of the most prominent leaders in the conservative movement as the split on U.S. involvement in Iran grows. On Tuesday, Senator Ted Cruz sat down with former Fox News host Tucker Carlson for an exclusive interview, which quickly became heated. The topic centered around what actions, if any, the U.S. should take to topple the Iranian regime as it battles Israel. Before I even show you the video, listen to this. Okay, I think it's kind of disingenuous to always call people former. Like, to this day, like I saw on Fox with my footage, it was like former Blaze TV host. And it's like, I worked for them years ago, and my show gets more views now. And I'm like, since I left there, I've gained more followers on social media than I left with. So I've like more than doubled my following. Why am I stuck to that brand? You know what I mean? Or like former Glenn Beck employee. Like, why are we describing people of like, where? Imagine if like you worked at Walgreens and like former Walgreens executive. It's like, dude, I work at Arby's now. It's like, why would I describe you by where you had a job? I just find it to be weird, especially like not when they're disgraced, but they're like Tucker and they get more views now than they did. But why don't you say like host of the Tucker Carlson network or like prominent journalist or like what? It always seems like we're like slighting these people by like saying like they left something. You know what I mean? And Fox is a great network, by the way, but their coverage of Iran is disingenuous to say the least. Check out this interaction that the TCN network launched. Watch.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's, it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not even. You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the one who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay. So instead of bringing up the most important part about that clip, which was what? That he just said we're bombing Iran. Everybody's on the internet is mad because Tucker did this gotcha, right? Oh, he asked the population. You don't know the population. Let me tell you this. I didn't know the population of Iran. That is true. If Tucker would have asked me that, I would have actually said, huh? No, I actually just don't really know that much about them besides the fact that they're a prominent military, have a very, very advanced modern society. I don't know if you guys have seen, but, a lot of people talk about like Iran, and I'm not an Iran apologist. But the idea is like, hey, if you're trying to bomb this country, right, and you're saying that the regime needs to be changed, what even is the population of the people that are going to be following the regime? Because we saw in Syria a bloody civil war erupted, right, in 2011. So we had over 653,000 people killed. Massive displacement of low IQ migrants. Reminding you, during these civil wars, what happens? You get the dumbest people, and I'm not meaning this disrespectfully or xenophobically. People that are smart and want to remain in government and own companies will stay in the country during a civil war because they can run operations. Low-level workers who their cities get bombed and can't find work leave, and they come to where? To us, to the West. So do you even know there's 90 million, 94 million people in this country? That's not a small country, right? This is not Afghanistan where they live in caves. You know, and whenever you try to explain that to people that you're anti-war, you end up just getting this insane backlash from people like you're some sort of a apologist for, you know, the mullahs, where it's like here at Gateway Pundit and at Rift, everywhere I work, we don't support the mullah Iran regime. Get out of here. That's what I'm tired of. It's not like the idea of like, look, if you want to go to war, you want to go to war, but don't try to tell me, don't pretend to me like people who are against war are somehow, you know, pro-Islam. And I bring this up because, you know, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about Iran. It's this third world country that deserves to be bombed. Do you know what the malls look like in Tehran? They're nicer than the malls in South Florida. Look at this.
The largest mall in the world, and it's not where you'd expect. This is the Iran Mall, located in Tehran, Iran. And while many people think the Dubai Mall is the largest in the world, Iran Mall is almost twice the size. At almost 2 million square meters, it has over 7 floors of parking and almost 2,500 stores. And from the very second you walk into this place, it is incredibly extravagant with so much shopping, from Persian rugs to basically anything you can think. And one of the most impressive spots was this grand library that has over 75,000 books. It features lots of traditional Iranian architecture and also blends the modern luxury with the cultural heritage of Iran. And in my multiple hours exploring this place, I didn't even get to see half of what it has to offer. From its ice skating rinks to sports complex to movie theaters, it has it all. And there's even a European area that has the cobblestone streets with plazas and all kinds of European bakeries. But one of the things that really stood out to me is when you go outside of the Iran Mall, they also have a water show like in Dubai. But this one puts the Dubai Mall water show to shame. So as usual, I'm sure you didn't know about this place, especially the fact that it's the largest mall in the entire world. So continue following along to see.
Okay, so you put a video like that up, and then people are like, so, you think Iran should get nukes? To be quite honest, I'm not entirely happy that any country who's not the United States has them. I'm not particularly happy that Israel allegedly has over 200. I'm not happy Pakistan has nukes. I'm not happy India has nukes. I'm not happy any of these countries have nukes. So you're asking me about Iran? No, I don't think Iran should have nukes. I don't think anyone at this network would think Iran should have nukes. The question is, do they have nukes? Can they actually get them? Did he reauthorize the program in 2023? And why did our intelligence change after Israel struck them? You know what I mean? That's the question. Why did our intelligence change? And so then everyone's freaking out at, you know, at Tucker now. And it's like, Tucker, you shouldn't have asked about the population. That's a gotcha question. I want to remind you guys, the entire pro-Trumpian side started basically on the internet with Ben Shapiro, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Charlie Kirk going to 18-year-old liberals on college campuses and asking them basic pointed questions like that. And then when they failed to answer, what did we do? We laughed at them, we jeered, we mocked, we said they're all stupid, you know? How'd you not know how many, you know, stars are on the flag? And it's like, well, you know, maybe an 18-year-old doesn't know that. We don't have the best education system. People don't really care about being educated. Also, you don't always retain all this, you know, basic factual information. This is not a game show, right? It's like you always say, you're just approaching someone at a college. You expect them to know what they're talking about. I'm going to ask you this. Would you expect that a senator who wants to bomb a nation would maybe just know the approximate size of the population? Like, even if he just said, look, somewhere between like 85 to 100 million, I'd be like, oh, that's a fair enough answer. Like, I don't expect him to have, like, you know, necessarily had the exact number. He probably just debriefed about it. You know, just like, oh, between 8 to 10 million. Someone asked me that. What's the population of Tehran? I was like, I think like 8 to 10 million. I always knew off the top of my head. I was like, I think it's somewhere around there. And I guess it's right. I guess it's somewhere around there. I could have probably guessed. I would have probably said somewhere between like 75 to 115 million, you know, given a range in Iran, just knowing the regional size. But when you're just like, I don't know, it's like 10 million, 2 million, 1 million. Is it the size of Luxembourg? Is it the size of France? Like, you know, what's the economic size of the country? Where does it rank? Is it number 9, 15? Like, these are things people should know. But of course, the pro neocon Zionist right, which of course would probably be a little more in line with this network, right, and more of what they back up. You know, a lot of them are. Some of them are being genuine, but, you know, people like Mark Levin and whatnot, they're being disingenuous about this whole thing. So it's kind of remarkable. They're blasting him. Now, Ted Cruz comes out. Check this out. He comes out of the middle of nowhere and says, I did a long interview with Tucker. Okay, cool. He released a snippet playing a gotcha on the population of Iran. I declined to play that silly game. Watch the full 2-hour interview where Tucker attacks Trump, attacks the AIPAC lobby, and falsely claims Iran is not trying to assassinate Trump. So he's mad. He's furious, you know, 2.8 million views. Also, Tucker claimed that the original Israel in the Bible is not the Israel that, you know, it's talking about today. Ted Cruz is mad about that, sort of what we call dispensational ideology. And a lot of you might be mad about that too, right? And that's fair, because if you're taught a certain thing in your church or in your school, and then you're hearing someone like Tucker speak contradictory to what you were taught, somebody is lying, right? Either you believe a lie and you were taught a lie, or Tucker's a kooky person like Trump said and he's a liar. But the question is, I was at the RNC. Tucker was sitting next to Trump in the box. So did Tucker change? Did Trump? Somebody changed, right? And, you know, today Ted Cruz puts up this tweet about it that's like written by a man named Mr. Goldberg. And Mr. Goldberg quoted Tucker saying, you know, we need to, you know, destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities. And he's like, what changed, Tucker? And I looked at the article. It was written in 2012. 13 years ago. You know, 13 years ago, I couldn't legally drink alcohol. Like, what do you mean what changed? It's like, hey, you weren't drinking last year, but you're drinking 10 years later. It's like, well, yeah, I was 9 then, and now I'm an adult and can legally drink. That's what changed. Tucker's explained what changed. Now, of course, I'm a little biased because I support Tucker in this conversation. You might think I'm a kooky nut myself, and that really Ted Cruz is correct. And that's fine. That's the beautiful thing about the First Amendment. What I don't like, though, is that because people disagree with Tucker, they're trying to discredit his reputation, you know? He's kooky. He's crazy. He's lost his marbles. Do you think that's what happened? Even Trump, you know, berating him and saying that he's, you know, needs to find a cable network. I mentioned that. It's like, dude, I don't watch cable. We've all seen this. When I saw the clip, I'm going to go back to that. I'm going to see that real fast. That original clip, let me see if I can find this, that Tucker posted, is at 25.8 million views. Tell me one episode of Tucker Carlson show on Fox that got 25 million views, right? I don't think you're going to find that. Maybe there's some clips here or there, but this is like, Tucker's getting the views. As they're saying that he's irrelevant and he's got nothing to say, he's like getting 25 million views. It's insane. Now, that being said, obviously you guys need to know, we're not against Trump here at this network. I'm not against Trump. I just wish people would be honest, because I'm confused. You're confused because Trump said something different 2 weeks ago than I'm seeing today. But I still support Trump. I'm supporting this administration. I'm not looking for them to fail. In fact, I hope Trump's right. And that's why I'm not backing down. And I'm never going to surrender, which is why I also always have these, which are sick and are a reminder to myself, I voted for this guy. And, you know, I'm really praying and hoping that Trump is being led by God and has the right move here. We got to pray and hope, right? Now, what's kind of cool is these Never Surrender shoes are patriotic statement. You got to check them out. You can buy them right now at themagaoffers.com/GP. If you support Trump and you don't want to just wear a hat, you want to wear something different, make a bold statement. They are comfortable, durable, and they are lightweight, and they are perfect for daily wear and sparking conversations. The Never Surrender slogan inspires resilience, making them ideal for Trump supporters and bold style lovers. Limited to 1,000 numbered pairs. They're exclusive and collectible. Grab yours today at themagaoffers.com/GP. Get 15% off. These are freaking awesome. You got to check them out. They're almost too nice to wear. So I haven't worn them outside. I wore them here, so they're comfortable. They fit well. Little tip, I think they were like a little bit on the smaller side. So I'm not saying order a size up or whatever, but you know, maybe order half size up, or that's kind of my opinion. That's what I did, and it worked out better. So just check that out. All right. That being said, one more story, because that was a little bit of a long one. Subverting the efforts of President Trump and Defense Secretary Hegseth to restore the military, at least one senior official appears to have made a promise he had no intention to keep, J.M. Phelps reports. Without intervention, Chief Warrant Officer 3 Brandon Budge will be separated from the Army on September 1st for his objection to the safety and efficacy of the COVID-19 shot in 2021, which was determined by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to be unlawful as implemented. In March, with the hope of restoring his career, the Black Hawk helicopter pilot was advised by General Randy George, the Army's Chief of Staff, to submit his request for relief for the Board of Correction of Military Records. And at the time, the general promised that he would get it fixed, told the Gateway Pundit in a previous article. Following CW3 Budge's interview, J.M. Phelps emailed a letter directly to General George on June 5th with a request for comment. On June 11th, Phelps also emailed a letter directly to Secretary of Army Daniel Driscoll, calling his attention to the letter sent to George and more. The inquiries were ignored. On X, Dr. Chase Spears, a retired U.S. Army public affairs officer, writer, and host of the Finding Your Spine podcast, called for less talk and more action. Quoted saying the top military leaders have said what we want to hear, but on many issues, they are not following through with action. In the Army, we had a saying that after 90 days, you own the unit and can't blame the last guy anymore. It's time to see those wronged under the last regime made. Following his post, Dr. Spears expressed to the Gateway Pundit that General Randy George, Daniel Driscoll, and others should have had the moral imperative to help everyone who serves in the Army, but admitted this isn't the case here. The retired public affairs officer said General George's promise to help CW3 Budge proves nothing more than words he had no intention on acting on. Throughout his 20-year career, Dr. Spears observed that too many senior military officers say what you want to hear but aren't actually willing to act upon. And check this out. On June 5th, I sent a letter via email directly to General Randy George, Chief of Staff of the Army. Sadly, I've been met with silence. On one hand, the general can't deny the BCMR process has failed Brandon Budge. And on the other hand, he has to recognize how just critical a case like this could be to President Trump and Defense Secretary Hegseth's fight to restore the careers of those who were adversely affected by the unlawful and implemented COVID-19 shot. As Thomas Jefferson said, action will delineate and define you. Until the President or Secretary of Defense tells General George to stand down, I think CW3 Budge is exactly the kind of patriot POTUS and Secretary of Defense would want fighting for him. So it's really sad. Timelines matter. He said that the DOD gets an A for public relations, but of course, I lost my rank. My family member, let me go back to that. Lost my rank. My family was very poorly treated by the leadership. After more than 21 years, I will be forced out of the Army. If this process is fixed for the Secretary of Defense has done to restore trust will be completely undermined, quick and decisive action must be taken. So this is, again, what we're facing here. You know, as a Trump supporter, as someone who voted for him 3 times, you know, and I believe he won 3 times. I don't know if anyone else agrees. I think he won 3 times, personally. But we need decisive action, not words, right? We don't just need police and sweeps. We need numbers, right? We need deportation numbers to be ahead of Obama. Because then what's the point of all of the theatrics? If the numbers aren't high, then the theatrics seem unnecessary. Although I will say the theatrics could be unavoidable because you know that there's going to be resistance to this kind of stuff, right? It was never going to be easy to deport people because the NGOs and the communists in our country have made this impossible to do without a little bit of pizzazz. But when it comes to also like righting the wrongs of the last administration, couldn't they just make a portal or something like that? Like, hey, if you got wrongly discharged, send an email here and then just review the cases one by one and just let people go. That's what I think they should be doing. And they should fire the people who wrote the policies to discharge lawful soldiers, like who it was their idea, right? If soldiers are following orders, I'm not going to get involved in that. But if you were trying to get rid of our good soldiers by trying to harm them with a COVID shot, you should be discharged. Now, if you're just following the orders of the commander-in-chief, well, that's one thing. But if you were involved in directing and trying to create these policies for the commander-in-chief, and then he signed off on them, that's different, right? Because now it was your idea, but he's the one giving the final say-so. I think you should be let go. But to soldiers, come on, if you were wrongly terminated, give them back their damn jobs. Or at least give them back pay and let them go on with their lives. Give them an honorable discharge and, give them some money. Give them, the 4 years back pay. I'm sure they could use that $200,000, $300,000, whatever it is right now. Not even sure it'd be that much for all soldiers, but, whatever it is, give them that and give them a housing allowance. That's where our taxes should be going, not bombing Iran. Come on. We have our soldiers, damn it. We can't even care about the ones that sacrificed already, yet we're asking them to sacrifice more. Let's get involved. Let's do something great. Now, if you want to join our support here at the Gateway Pundit and get more reports like this, join us at thegatewaypundit.com in our mug club. You get this amazing mug. It's embossed, it's weighty, and it's perfect for you and your family to sip tea on every single day, or coffee, depending on what you enjoy. It's good for hot cocoa, too. High quality and has our logo on the back. I'm Elijah Schaffer. Thank you so much again for watching another episode of the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. Have a great rest of the week. As always, And may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.